When one thinks of Ben Wallace, one of the first things that come to their mind is the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner, or the heart and soul of the 2004 NBA champions Detroit Pistons. We also remember one of the worst offensive players in the NBA, as he has career averages of only 5.7 points per game in over 29 minutes of play with multiple games of 0 points. Even though he struggles to score, he makes a huge impact on the game with his putback dunks, blocks, toughness, and lockup defense. Many people might still remember his impact on the floor, but not many people know the path and the story that Ben Wallace had to take to make it to the NBA. Ben Wallace was born in 1974 in Whitehall, Alabama. He was the 10th of 11 children and youngest among the boys. Growing up, his family was very poor, as they never had extra cash for anything, especially clothes. To put on clothes, Ben Wallace's mom raised a small cotton crop near the house where she would use the cotton to make clothes for her family. They were always the last family in the neighborhood to get electricity. As a result, Ben Wallace would spend most of his time outside with his siblings playing basketball. Ironically, Ben Wallace was always the smallest kid on the court and is still the smallest one in his family right now. As a result of his height, Wallace would only get the basketball by rebounding and stealing it or saving it from going out of bounds. Growing up, Wallace learned how to cut hair, which helped him save money to attend a basketball camp run by Charles Oakley. During the camp, Wallace was actually called up by Oakley to play him one-on-one, in which Oakley was impressed by how Wallace was able to guard and body him. Wallace would actually give Oakley a bloody nose and cause him some pain. Since that day, Oakley told Wallace to keep his aggressive style of play and he would have a good chance of making it to the NBA. And actually, Oakley would keep a tab on him from that day. From that day on, scouts would come to Wallace's games and recruit him. However, the scouts were more impressed and interested in Ben for his football skills more than his basketball skills because of his physical ability and his height. Ben actually got a scholarship by Auburn but never attended it when he found out that they only went to him playing football. When Oakley heard about this, he would call a friend of his who would help offer Wallace a spot on the Cuyahoga Community College basketball team. In 2 years in Cuyahoga, Wallace was a beast as he averaged 24 points, 17 rebounds, and 7 blocks a game. These numbers attracted many D1 schools, but Wallace would eventually lose these scouts when he stopped going to classes. As a result, Oakley would step in once again and help Wallace get a spot on Virginia Union University basketball team, which is a D2 school. Once he arrived to the team, Wallace noticed that the team had many established scorers, and for him to shine and make it to the NBA, he would have to be a Charles Oakley type player. Therefore, in Wallace's junior and senior year, he would be one of the best rebounders and shot blockers in the country. He would also help lead VUU to the 1995 and 1996 Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association Championship. Even though Wallace excelled in college, not many NBA scouts came to his games because he played in a D2 school. When draft day came, Wallace went undrafted but would play for the Celtics Summer League team. He completely failed in Summer League as the coach had him playing the shooting guard position because he believed that Wallace was too small to play as a power forward. As a result, Wallace would get cut and play in Italy for a month. Surprisingly, while he was in Italy, he got a call by the Washington Bullets' GM to be the 12th man on their team. Even though he was brought in for his defense only, Wallace would stay late after practice to work on his offensive game. In the 1997-98 season, Ben saw more playing time and averaged 5 rebounds per game. Wallace would blossom more in the 1999 season when Chris Webber was traded to the Kings, which would allow Wallace to play more minutes. He would lead the team in rebounds with 8.3 rebounds and 2 blocks in only 26 minutes of play. Ben started to make his mark in the league when he was traded to Detroit in 2000 in a deal involving Grant Hill. He would average 13.2 rebounds in his first year alongside 2.3 blocks. Ben was becoming one of the best young defensive players and a force in the league in 2002 when he won Defensive Player of the Year. In the 2002 season, after the accusation of Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton, Wallace would win Defensive Player of the Year again and help lead the Pistons to a 50-32 record. He would also lead the league with 15.4 rebounds and 3.2 blocks. Then the biggest season ever for Wallace came in the 2013 season when he helped lead the Pistons alongside with Rasheed Wallace, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, and Tayshaun Prince to the NBA championship by overcoming the Kobe and Shaq-led Lakers. In the championship game, Game 5, Wallace would have a monster stat line of 18 points and 22 rebounds. The next year, the Pistons would once again return to the playoff, and Wallace would dominate once again as he grabbed 29 rebounds in Game 3 of the first round against the Sixers. However, that year the Pistons would lose to the Spurs in 7 games. After the 2005 season, Wallace would get traded to the Bulls and once again win Defensive Player of the Year again, but he would have a steady decline every year after that. Even though most of Wallace's success came as a Piston, he was feared by many opponents and will always be remembered for his aggressive style of play as an undersized big. Wallace sure did enjoy a Hall of Fame career with a championship, numerous All-Star appearances, and a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner. He also would get his number retired by the Detroit Pistons. Wallace is most likely going to be in the Hall of Fame, especially when he's been compared to Dennis Rodman, who was just inducted recently to the Hall of Fame. So this is the story of Ben Wallace, as he went from an undrafted D2 college basketball player that was cut by his summer league team to a champion and a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. If you liked this video and would like to see more, please leave a like, subscribe, and share.